Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. Happy Wednesday to you all. Um, Today we will be doing a kind of different day, just we're going to be focusing a lot at everybody moving at their own pace. I felt like it might be a little difficult at this point. Um, Let me start off by saying I'm so excited that many of you are really enjoying flying with Kerbal. But at the same time, some of you did not even have the game downloaded on Monday. Um, and so we definitely have a class that's on different levels with the game. So we're going to have a more go at your own pace where I'll be here for you guys with questions and I'll be checking in on you as you kind of go through some tutorials that I have. And then we're going to kind of break halfway, and I'll explain this again in a little bit, but we're going to break halfway and I'm going to have a little bit of a kind of quiz that you guys are all going to participate in with some basics in rockets. Okay, I have a question. Oh my gosh, Nico, you put in a unique position because you already have done the landing on the moon, so that's great. But that's just an example, yeah. Different people at different levels. That's awesome, Nico. All right, so what we are going to do today, I want to first just take a poll. Please, everyone answer this question. Either send me a message if you can't raise your hand, but please, let me see, someone's arriving. So I'm going to give them a moment so that they can hear me. All right, please raise your hand if you have access to the Kerbal Space program today. If you have it downloaded on your computer. All right, I see hands going up. I'm happy. Send me a message if you can't raise your hand. All right, I'm going to put hands down for a moment. Please raise your hand if you do not have Kerbal Space Center downloaded. Okay, guys. So what I kind of need to know from you. All right, I'm going to put the hands down again. Raise your hand if you don't think you'll be able to download it. Even though it's free, it won't harm your computer if you just don't think you're going to be able to download the game. All right? Okay, so here's kind of how it's going to go. For the people that haven't downloaded the game, that is what you're going to do right now. If you don't think you're going to be able to download the game, that kind of puts it in a more difficult position. I can send you the link and you can try. I actually just, and then I have a YouTube video that I can send to you. It's not going to be as interesting as playing the game, and I'm sorry, but there's, the lesson's kind of designed around the game, so you'd be able to still learn about the rockets and kind of see it that way. But the tutorials are all in game, and so there's no way to kind of access the tutorials outside of the game. All right, so first, to those of you who don't have the game downloaded, but can download it today, go ahead and get started on that. It's the download page and it's the free demo. I sent the link out during chat, all right? So that's what you guys should definitely start doing. And then, so this is kind of how the game is going. It's, or how today is going. It's everyone at their own pace, depending on where they are. I'm glad that a lot more of you have the game today. I was really hoping that everyone could get it before class. But I understand people have different commitments. Ryan, I'm also going to send this video. Don't start it yet, but when everyone breaks away, you can start that, and then you can still engage when we have the quiz as well. I'm sorry that you can't have access to this game. And I'll check in on you in a little bit. But don't start that video yet, because we still have some lesson to get through. All right, so that's kind of the first step, is getting the game. if you have that step, then we're going to kind of go through and remind how we build the ship, because that's what we did on Monday. And some people have already built the ship, right? So you get the game, you build your first ship, and once you've done those two things, I want you guys, they're called trainings, they're like tutorials. There are 2 trainings that I want you guys to go through. All right, so right now everyone should be watching my screen as we go through this, even if you are going to download in a minute, and I'm going to kind of set you loose at a certain point. And then we're going to come together about halfway through. Just to let you guys know, I will be checking in on you periodically. And please, please, please send me a message or ask me questions if you're having any trouble. All right, and that's just going to be kind of how today works. So, for those of you who have just downloaded it, when you start the game, this is where we're going to focus. It's the vehicle assembly building. All right, and we are using this basic rocket design tutorial. And we used that. We looked at our different placement helpers, symmetry and angular snap. These are really important if you guys remember from Monday. We always want to have angular snap on. And we use symmetry when we need to add multiple of the same piece. We want them to be kind of, if we're adding 3 thrusters, we want them to be at the same level of the rocket, we can use this symmetry button. And it's right next to that angular snap button. And you click it, and as you click, you cycle through the different modes. All right, and we designed a payload, and we designed a launch vehicle. All right. Some people had questions on Edmodo with the staging. The staging, how that works, Kerbal Space Program actually does that for us. But as you go more advanced into the game, if you buy the real version, you can spend a lot of time kind of developing your own staging using action groups. But for now, we're just using the staging that they have. The stages go in reverse. So we start with stage 0. Technically, that's at the top, but this is going to be the last thing that happens. The first is stage 3. All right. And using this design, our Kerbal will get to space into a low Kerbin orbit, and we can test some things. Again, since everyone was at so many different levels, the way I thought would be the best, and Kerbal has a really great, really easy to understand training scenarios that you get to by pressing start game and then into training. All right, no one should be doing this yet. Everyone should be watching my screen right now. The ones today, we're really going to focus on this flight basics. Even if you already know how to fly a rocket, even if you've already launched a rocket, I want everyone to go through these flight basics because you learn certain terms that you guys are going to be quizzed on in class today. And these are, so pay attention when these are brought up because these are going to be ones that I'm going to ask questions about. Pitch, yaw, and roll. These are just important for flight. Throttle. We talked a little bit about SAS and RCS when we went into building, but we're going to talk about these more in the training. Staging, the nav ball, altimeter, vertical speed, and atmosphere gauges. These are things that I want you guys to be paying attention. Do not just click through the training. You have to read through the whole thing. And they're going to ask you to kind of practice. And I want you guys to spend plenty of time practicing after you kind of read through the whole training. But take your time, go slowly, read through all of these because we will have kind of that quiz. All right, so no one moved yet. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, someone has a great question, kind of basic. How do you turn off the sound? And to turn off the sound, I'll show you right now. It can be kind of annoying or jarring, I guess. One moment. You, in that opening screen, you go to settings and then audio. My duck. All right, and so then you can turn all these down and hit accept, apply, and then accept. All right, Joseph? Okay, so here's how it's going to work right now. I'm pulling this up here. This is a picture of the rocket that I wanted you guys to build that we went through and built together on Monday. These are how all the pieces fit together. All right. To get there, here, I'll show you guys how you kind of start to build the rocket. You go into the vehicle assembly building. You grab the pieces from the left. This is the command pod NK1. You have to start there, and you can see it. Oh, I have that right there. And it's really simple to see. You just pull it on, click it, there. Here's your symmetry mode that you cycle through. Here's angle snap. You want to keep that turned on. And you add the pieces and if you guys remember, we talked about these on Monday. We have the RCS, that's for control. You guys will learn more about that. We have the RCS thruster blocks ×2. And then 3 are going to be on the SAS module. Ooh, I need to add that there are 2 of these. I'll put the list up as well. But you just find the pieces and you add them. There's also a decoupler between, need to add one, sorry about that, guys. There we go. And you just find the pieces and you add them. When it says ×3 or ×2, that means you change your symmetry mode accordingly. Just because there are multiple. So you don't need to place these separately, you change your symmetry mode. And then so the RCS thruster blocks, there are 2 up here on the command pod and 3 on the SAS module. All right, and then there's that RCS fuel tank, the decoupler, and they all stack as you go through. See, there's the fuel tank. Under control, you'll find the SAS. And then again, you're in symmetry mode 2. You grab that thruster block, and you can add both of those at the same time. Get to symmetry mode 3, and you can add the thruster blocks there. All right, so it's going to be kind of tricky since before some people had kind of the opportunity on Monday, and I went with them through piece by piece. And I can do that again, honestly, for you guys. But I want you guys that haven't built a rocket to go ahead and build their rocket, try to put it together, find the pieces. If you guys can remember on Monday, go through kind of what they do, why they're there. Remember, the decoupling is for stages, so that parts of the rocket are going to break off. Once you have your rocket, or if you've already had your rocket, go and do the Flight 101 training. So first step, download. Second step, build the rocket. Third step, go through that training, the flight basics training. Does anyone have a question on what they're going to do? I'm going to kind of let you guys be going at your own pace. But know you're responsible for that information. We are going to have just a little mini quiz because I don't want you guys just clicking through. This game, it can be difficult to to fly the rockets and get it into orbit. Maybe you guys will have a chance to start that tutorial, that training, the orbit training. It is a go at your own pace. But you'll quickly see that if you just rush through the training and you don't take the time to really learn the keys and to practice, you're going to have a lot of trouble. All right. Does anyone have a question on what they're going to be doing? Oh, great. Someone has a question. Hey, Tegan, what's your question?
I tried to download it,
Mm-hmm.
Kerbal, and I hit download and nothing happened.
Okay, check your, all right, one moment, Tegan, I'm gonna help you, but I just wanna first, go ahead, everyone, get started. Right, download first, then build your rocket. Let me know if you're having any trouble building it or you can't find a piece, or they're not coming together quite right. And then go ahead and do that training. And I see some other hands popping up. I'll definitely get to you guys. Thanks for being patient. Tegan, did you try going to your download file and seeing if it has started downloading?
Yes, nothing popped up.
Okay. Um, Interesting. So let's see here. Try going here. Do you have Windows or Mac?
Mac.
Oh, okay, great. Uh, and you clicked it. Normally, they just pop up, right? And you see them in the download file.
Mm-hmm.
I would just guess try again. Right click and open the link in a new window, see if that helps. And you should
Okay.
get this zip file, and it should take a while. I'm going to tell it to stop because I already have it. Um, but it should take some time for it to download, which is why I was asking you guys to do it outside of class. Did that work? Can you
Okay.
try it
Does it
again?
matter if I do it on Safari or Google Chrome?
I would try it on Google Chrome. It's worked for me on Google Chrome.
Okay.
All right, try it on that and then get back to me. Luke, the training is, um, yeah, the training is the Flight 101 is where I want you guys to start because we've already kind of gone through some of the building. Oh no, I'm sorry guys, of you that were looking at this picture. Um, so go ahead and do the Flight 101 training. Luke, was that your only question or did you have another question?
I was just saying there it says flight basics and orbiting 101.
Oh, okay, yeah, flight basics. Thanks, Luke. So it's
Okay.
flight basics. Joseph, I'm gonna unmute you. What's your question, Joseph? Do you have a question? I can't hear you. I don't know if your microphone is working or. I see you said rocket is black. All right, I can't hear you. Go ahead and type a question if you have it. I'm sorry about that. I'm putting hands down. Ryan, I'm going to unmute you. I want to talk to you for a second. Hey, Ryan. So you can't get the game? Ryan?
Yes?
Hey, so I'm sorry about that you can't get the game. Did you get the video link that I sent you?
Yes.
All right. Um, Sorry about that. Is it you just not have access to a computer that you're able to download on?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Well, we will be, as always, we kind of jump through the different engineering. Uh, we're doing like a sampling this semester, so starting next week, we will no longer be with Kerbal. So sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
All right. Thanks, Rod. And Joseph, please send me a question if you have it. Sorry, I couldn't hear you before. Tegan, let me know if it's working and you it starts to download. Oh yes, Garen, go ahead and start. Um, Interesting. Yes, everyone, just to make sure you guys know, go ahead, start the training if you already have the rocket belt. If anyone is confused about building the rocket, I know I kind of wish I had the time to individually go through this again. I think it would be difficult and distracting, though, if you guys are going through the training and I'm speaking through building the rocket. Um, but if anyone is having trouble with it, I know you guys should have been here or not should have been here, but hopefully you guys were here on Monday when I spoke through it and kind of saw how I went about doing that. So let me know if you do have any trouble with that. You kind of just go piece by piece and they fit together. But go ahead, start now. Go through that. I'll be here for questions. I'm going to be checking in. And then again, we will be kind of just doing that assessment, seeing how you guys are learning this information. And I'll check in at 2:05, 2:10, and see if most of you guys have gotten through that flight tutorial. Once you finish that training, it gives you the opportunity to practice with a smaller rocket. So just go ahead and practice with that one. Practice doing the different techniques that it taught you. And just mess around with that for a little while. And then you can even try it with your rocket kind of at that point. Um, oh, great. I have a question here. Tegan, did it work? Is it working for you?
Yes,
Great. Excellent. And were you here Monday? Did you kind of see this rocket come together the first time?
I did.
Okay, excellent. Did you have another question or were you just letting me know?
No, I was just letting you know.
Thanks. Oh, okay. Yes. If you do, I will say, okay. Logan, I'll get to that in 1 second. Nico, I'm going to respond with a written question. All right, Logan, let me see your problem. Hey, Logan, so you've downloaded the game. It just won't stop loading as the first time you opened it? Logan, I can't hear you. I don't know if you have a microphone set up. Okay, you're saying yes. All right, so I'll unmute you. Um, that is tricky. Do you have Windows or Mac? Windows. Okay. I'm a little bit less familiar with Windows, but let's see if we can figure it out. Go ahead and Control Delete and stop the program. Once you've exited out, close any windows that might be, I mean, obviously keep GoToWebinar up, but close out of the internet, make sure there aren't too many windows up and running. Try to have as little running on your computer as possible. And then go back through that file. Make sure that you keep, let's see if I can find my Finder. Make sure that you keep the icon in this KSP file and then try again. All right, so exit out and try to exit out of as many different applications and internet windows that you have up right now. And then try one more time, making sure that this icon is in the folder. And let me know how it works. Oh, oops, over this picture again. Even. Now it won't even start. Okay. Logan, I'm worried. I think what might have to happen is you might have to restart your computer. Um, or the game might be a little bit too much for your computer. I'm not sure, but I don't want you to have to restart your computer and exit out of the webinar. So I'm going to send that. You did get that link as well that I sent to, well, I sent it out to everyone over chat, but to Ryan. And you can kind of watch that for now and get the controls and see if it works later. But it's sounding like it either the file is or the application is too much for your computer, it needs to just be restarted. I would try those things though before uninstalling and reinstalling it. Oh, Joseph, right, back to the color, to the rocket thing. What I'm wondering, I'm gonna, guys, I'm gonna freeze this screen in case anyone's using this image here, or maybe I'll move it over. See if I can do that. Oh no, Elizabeth, did you, um, oh no, it didn't save your file. What might have happened is you might not have pressed save, or if you press start new game instead of resume old game. But I'm so sorry, that is a bummer, especially if you personalized it at all. I will say this rocket, it does not take that much time. If you've built it one time, here are the pieces here. It shouldn't take you more than a couple minutes to rebuild it. I know I had to, the same thing happened. I accidentally hit new game and I had to start over, but it does not take that long and you'll get even more practice. Joseph, I'm pausing the screen and I am trying to see right now if graphics, if I'm going to the settings on that home page, and if something in, you'd be able to change the graphics for the game, if that might help. Okay, maybe if it's possible. All right, I'm going to show my screen again. So if people are building the rocket, they're going to have to hold on 1 minute. Joseph, if you go into settings on that home page and into graphics, you can press escape to get here. I might just try reducing kind of maybe the texture quality. Just try, yeah, reducing texture quality and render quality. See if you just try to lessen the graphics a bit. It might work. I mean, it's okay that there's no color. I don't think you necessarily need color, but it is cool to see. So try that and see if that helps. All right, and then here's back to the. All right, so it is 2:07, so I'm going to check in with you guys. I want everyone to raise your hand if you have built the rocket. All right, so we still have people building the rocket. Raise your hand if you have gone through the flight tutorial. All right, I'm going to check in on some people, see how they're doing. Garen, I'm going to unmute you, okay? Hey, Garen, how's it going? Garen, are you there? No, you muted yourself? All right. All right. I just want to, which rocket? Oh, okay. Just this rocket here that we built together in class. I'm just trying to check in and see what you guys are working on right now. So we're going to take a minute, and I'm going to go ahead and I know some of you guys are still working on either building the rocket or going through the flight tutorial. You really can do either one first. But I want to take a poll on how you are enjoying doing the Kerbal Space Center. All right, so like 78% of people voted. Get one or two more. I'm on the flight tutorial. Great, Garen. That's awesome. That's exactly right. All right, so excellent. I mean, it seems like this is fairly popular. We had the great majority of class either in the great or the good category. So, and maybe a couple that think it's okay. But what I'm going to say is in 5 minutes, we're going to go through that little quiz. Again, just either be building the rocket or working on that tutorial. Sorry if you're having trouble with getting that download to work. Again, that's why I was trying to get you guys to try it before class, because a lot of times just even restarting your computer can be helpful, and I don't want you guys to have to restart your computer and jump out of the webinar. All right, so at 2:15, we're going to go through and do that little quiz. So even if you're working on your rocket, now would be a good time to go and to do the basic flight tutorial. If you have finished the basic flight tutorial and you have tried out flying a couple times, now might be a good, you can start that Orbit 101 tutorial. But if you're still even on just your first step, because you downloaded it today, that's fine. That's definitely fine. I know that's kind of why we're going at our own pace today, because we are at different places. Tegan, do you have a question?
Yeah, where are the flight demos or
Oh, okay.
tutorials?
Great question. So if you're in the game, in the start game section, once you press start game, you go to training instead of resume saved or start new. If you're in the game
Okay.
already, you can just press escape or quit to the main screen. And it's under training. It's called.
Okay.
All right. Great question. All right. So about 2:15, and we're going to go ahead and go through some of those questions. Still no color, Joseph, and you tried the different setting. That is really strange. I would try restarting your computer, or the only other thing I could think of is you'd have to re-download it. I'll look into that. I'll try Googling that and seeing if that's a common problem. All right, guys, it is 2:15. So we're gonna go through. I know not all of you guys have finished the tutorial, but um, let's see how you guys are faring with some of the questions. And even if you don't know the exact answer, you can go ahead and take a guess. All right, so I'm gonna pull you guys away from Kerbal for a second, and we are going to go through these. Hold on. All right. So these are the questions are going to be in the forms of polls. So anyone that's watching, I mean, I know you can't watch a video when I put a poll up, but you guys can. All right, guys, yeah, take a guess if you don't know. What is the angle of the nose of the ship in relation to the horizon? And what I'm describing, it's controlled by the keys W and S. All right, great. So I think I can show. Let's see. All right, so here's how the class did. The correct answer is pitch. And pitch does describe, we have pitch, roll, and yaw. And pitch describes the angle of that nose in relation to the horizon. And you can kind of raise and have that raise and fall with your W and your S keys. All right, let's move to that next question. Now I give you guys the definition. Yaw is the rotation of the ship around the vertical axis. So pitch was with the horizon, and this is yaw, it's rotation around the vertical axis. Which keys control yaw? And these are really important terms, not just for rocket flights, but for airplanes as well. Oh, great, everyone voted in this one. All right, again, class, the majority of the class is right. If you guys guess the wrong thing too, that is completely fine. That's how we learn. It's A and D. Yaw, and that is how you control the yaw. So W and S controls pitch. A and D control yaw. And then our last one here, roll. Roll is controlled with Q and E. And what kind of motion does roll control? So read all the answers. Ooh, this one's a tricky one. You guys are really divided. We're waiting for one more vote. All right. Man, I did not mean to be so tricky with this one. It's actually all of the above. Those three sentences, they all mean the same thing. So this is a contentious question. So basically, it just is describing around the front to back axis. It's a hard thing to describe. It's easier to see kind of in flight, but it's the same as leaning left or right. It's that longitudinal axis, which is also the front to back axis. Kind of the front to the back of your rocket. And it's described as rolling left or rolling right. All right, so it actually is this all of the above. That's tricky. Maybe I'll change the wording on that one. All right, so now we have pitch, yaw, and roll. And a really important one, throttle. Throttle controls the output power of a ship's engine, and it kind of creates thrust. What kind of boosters can we, yeah, can we affect with shift control? This is a tricky question. I know some of you guys have already answered. I meant, man, it's supposed to say can't, yes, cannot control. There we go. What kind of boosters can we not affect with shift control? About half the classes voted, I bet, because they heard the concern in my voice, but this is correct. I will say there is a trick answer in this one. One of these we have not discussed. They may be real, but I don't think they are. I made up the term. All right, we're waiting for one more vote. Great. Okay, so the answer, the majority answer is correct. It's solid fuel engines. So the way a solid fuel engine works is that they burn their fuel as soon as it's ignited. It burns at the highest possible capacity and it will burn at that capacity until all of the fuel is gone. That's how a solid fuel engine works. In our rocket, we have 3 solid fuel engines, and they burn as fast as possible. As soon as they burn out, we break them off with these radial decouplers, and then we use the liquid. The liquid fuel engines, which we can control. Using shift and control will change your throttle, and that will influence both a liquid fuel engine and the RCS. G-force engines I made up, so they may, I guess, be real. All right, so let's talk a little bit about RCS, and that's called a reaction control system, and it is activated by the R key. When is this most effective? And I'll give you a hint. Remember, the RCS, it's on our payload, and it does not produce a lot of thrust. Got one more vote. Waiting for one more. You can guess. It's okay if you don't know. I'll wait you out, though. Yeah, someone did not submit a vote for this one, but just take a guess. Excellent. That was actually the correct guess. It's out in space. Out in space is when the RCS is the most effective, and that's because they do not produce a lot of thrust. But if you are thinking about those solid and liquid engines, right, they produce all of that thrust. It's really powerful, and it's, the way the rocket is constructed with that center of mass towards the bottom, right near that center of thrust, it's going to propel the rocket upwards in our atmosphere, kind of because of the way gravity works. But when you're out in space, you need that RCS system with those different multiple boosters to be able to control, and it's more delicate maneuvers. You don't need a lot of thrust because you're out in space without, atmosphere, without gravity, as strong gravity. But you do need kind of all of those different boosters working together. So it's out in space. All right, one last question. Staging, which is activated by the space bar, that's how you move through staging, starts with the 0th stage and moves to the 1st, 2nd, etc. Is that true or false? So by starts with, I mean the first thing that happens is the 0th stage. True or false? 100% voted. That was fast. You knew I'd wait you out this time. Okay, it's false. Right. So that wording may have been a little complicated, but staging actually starts with the highest number, and the 0th stage goes last. All right, so good work, guys. I hope that Kerbal has been helping you learn kind of some of these flight basics. For the rest of class today, you guys can just continue practicing flying, moving through whichever tutorial or training you're working on, and asking me questions. All right. Then go ahead and continue until 2:30. And please raise your hand or send me a question whenever one arises. Colton is asking how you orbit. So orbiting is actually, the more that I learned about it, the more difficult it is. It's not an easy jump to make. There is another training called Orbiting 101, and I really recommend that you go through that one. And it's kind of a combination of making sure you understand how to choose the right orbit path, but it's also being able to control your rocket, which is a lot that you learned in the flight basics. So it's not a question that can be answered simply. You kind of have to practice, make sure you have a stable rocket. And there is that training called Orbit 101. All right, guys, it is 2:30. So that's it today. I will, so, pardon me, sorry. Let me know if you have any questions about the game. I'm excited. I enjoy getting your updates on what you're doing with the flying, and I hope that you do try those other trainings and make some improvements on your rocket. I would love to see a screenshot of what your rocket ends up as. I hope I'm glad that you guys have been enjoyed using this software, and I will see you on Monday.